Helping Up Mission offers a wide range of programs to provide support and hope to those struggling with homelessness, poverty, and addiction in our community. Such programs include overnight guest services, long-term spiritual recovery, and postgraduate transitional housing. We're also engaged in partnerships with community agencies including Johns Hopkins Hospital, the Veterans Administration in Baltimore City, where we provide shelter and residential services to men and now some women as well. For over 20 years, though, our signature program has been the 12-month residential spiritual recovery program for men who battle drug and alcohol addiction. Graduates of this program, the class of 2018, are the ones we've come to celebrate today. Yet, everyone in the room knows the challenges of opioid addiction across our country. 2.5 million Americans are addicted to pain medication. 91 people die every day of overdose. Opioid overdose deaths have quadrupled since 1999. Deaths from opioid overdose now exceed those from both firearms and motor vehicle accidents. So, today, we will introduce to you men of Helping Up Mission who have found liberation and spiritual empowerment over their own opioid addiction. And they want you to know that others can experience the same victory as well.
Heal us, Emmanuel, here we are. We long to feel thy touch. Deep wounded souls to thee we fly. O Savior, hear our cry. Heal us, Emmanuel, here we are. We long to feel thy touch. Deep wounded souls to thee we fly. O Savior, hear our cry. Our faith is feeble, we confess. We faintly trust thy word. But will you pity us the less? Be that far from you, Lord. Heal us, Emmanuel, here we are. We long to feel thy touch. Souls to thee we fly. O Savior, hear our cry. Just wanna be happy, but if I keep on doing the things that keep on bringing me pain, there's no one else I can blame. If I'm not happy, wasting time, but now I can see the biggest enemy is me. So I'm not happy. Cry yourself to sleep. Shout and raise your hand. Raise your hand. It won't change a thing, child, till you understand. If you're tired of things, if you're tired of things, if you're tired of things, it's time for you to get out the way. Don't get stuck in how you do. Just say Jesus, take it away. He knows the road that you need to take. It's so easy to complain when you are addicted to the pain. He brings your heart into
Hallelujah.
Jesus, oh,
You know this is how you feel. So let him know that love that you have. He always knows. Hallelujah. Come on. Do you want to be
happy?
See, I don't know about you, but I know that I just want to be.
Want to be happy?
Yeah, we're going to say that one more time. Do you want to be happy?
Do you want to be happy?
I know I do. I just want to.
Want to be happy? If you get my brokenness, I got true love instead of pain. There's freedom, no you capture me. I got joy instead of mourning. There's brokenness, I got true love instead of pain. There's freedom, I got joy instead of mourning. You bring me joy. I've never been so sorry on your love me. I've never been more secure knowing your heart, Lord. Never been so sorry on your love me. Yeah. Never been more secure knowing your heart, Lord. Never give me my soul, my soul. Never give me my soul, my soul. Never give me my soul. You give me joy. Now give me my soul. Now give me my soul. Now give me my soul. You give me joy. Now give me my soul. My soul. Now give me my soul. My soul. Now give me my soul.
Helping Up Mission has been located on the 1000 block of East Baltimore Street for over 60 years, serving men struggling with poverty, homelessness, and addiction. Today, our Hum campus fills that entire block, inspiring hope in the lives of men and their families that there can be victory over chemical addiction. Hum has also recently acquired another property just down the street, soon to become our Women and Children's Program Ministry Center. It's in the dilapidated building, still standing on that site that we shot today's videos. The condition of that old building symbolizes the chaos which addiction brought into the lives of the men sharing their stories with us today. And just as they have been transformed, so this old building will be torn down and the whole site will be transformed into a new 7-story ministry center of love and caring to inspire hope for hurting women and their children in our community. And we look forward to the day when in that new building, we'll be able to share more stories of women who have experienced the same kind of spiritual transformation we will see and hear about today.
It just made me such a horrible person. I just numbed everything so I didn't have to feel it.
Family stopped speaking to me, no friends, pretty much all by myself.
All those relationships were gone, so I literally had nowhere to go.
Pretty much on the street for short of a year.
I lost everything. I lost my family, I lost my job. I even stole from a little kid that passed away. The money was being raised for his burial. It got that bad that I stole the money.
I remember shooting up in my mother's hospital room while she's on her deathbed.
I had plenty of bad experiences.
I had 4 overdoses within 5 weeks.
I OD'd one night. They dragged me out of the house and they left me on the sidewalk.
The last overdose took me to the intensive unit at Mercy Hospital.
I told my wife and the nurse that I needed treatment, I needed help.
She already knew. She knew what I knew. I was gonna walk out the door and keep using.
I mean, I had no place to go. So, it was this or I was staying on the streets.
Not having insurance, there was no other facility that would take me.
28 days is not enough.
Went through the detox program and then walked down the street to the mission.
And the social worker started showing me videos of Helping Up Mission.
And the very next morning, I arrived at the Helping Up Mission.
The centerpiece of what we do is a 12-month residential spiritual recovery program for men who struggle with drug and alcohol addiction. Many of them have no idea what they're in for. Many don't know that it's a 12-month program. Many of them don't understand the spiritual nature, and so they walk in and they realize, oh, this isn't a homeless shelter like I thought I was going to be in.
This is a serious place. I'm finally at a place that I might be able to get help.
They see other guys that are happy and smiling and well-dressed, and they think, I wasn't expecting anything like this.
There is an overarching catalyst, I think, that we could say brings men to the mission. It's called pain. I don't think men would come here if they didn't experience pain, and they wouldn't commit themselves to a year of recovery if they didn't really experience pain.
One guy said to me years ago when I first got here, drugs aren't my real problem. If I could ever deal with the things that cause me to keep using drugs, I don't think I'll ever use again.
We were married before I came here about 40 years. She was in the shelter, and she knew we were going down a dark path again, so I pulled away and got into a detox, and then managed to get down here to the Hum, to the mission. And while I was at the Hum the first 25 days, she overdosed and died.
When I lost my son, he got sick with pneumonia, went to the hospital, got a blood infection, and they ended up having to put him on a ventilator. But when they took him back off, the vitals dropped again, and by the time they got him back on, his brain had already stopped functioning, so we had to make the decision to take him off.
Almost every guy that comes here has some severe traumatic experiences that they've never dealt with in their lives and simply have to be addressed. The main event is really one guy helping another guy. they're struggling with the same things you're struggling with, and you help each other through the process.
All we wanted to know was that we were all right. We looked out for each other.
They've been where you've been. They can tell you what worked for them and what might work for you.
They would come down, they'd get me out of my bunk, force me to go play softball, force me to get outside and not get stuck in my head. That there was when I really knew I was staying and I was gonna finish this thing.
I think that's probably the only reason that I stayed. I linked up with other guys in the program that were after what I was after. We hit meetings together, we ate together, we went to the gym together, we ran together.
Support. I had the support of some very good friends here early on. My support group carried me through that painful time.
You get that sense of community. They rallied around me and I never felt a brotherhood like that.
I lost the most important thing in the world and chose to come back to the mission because I knew that's where I needed to be.
Hey, welcome everyone. It's so good to see you. My name is Mike Bravo, and I'm the Director of Spiritual Life here at the Helping Out Mission. This is Dean. Say hi to Dean. Hey, Dean. Hey, I heard you sound singing right behind you, baby. I thought I sounded a little bit better than you, man. Got it? What do you got? You got anything?
Ebony and ivory, we're together in perfect harmony.
Stop. Whoa, wait, whoa. I thought I was doing Ebony part. I guess not. Welcome. Hey, welcome. Before we get started with Dean, I'm just thinking, I look out there, I see so many people that come over to the mission to help us in so many ways. I see pastors who teach, mentors who give back, tutors, so much stuff. We are so glad you're here, and we're so glad you're here today. Thank you so much. So Dean, how you doing, babe?
Today I'm doing fine.
Today it's a good day. So Dean, tell us what got you to the mission, and when did you come? How long ago, and when did you first get there?
September 2016.
September 16, September. So what brought you to the mission?
My drug use. I used heroin for 30 plus years. And my family saw that I needed help. We did a little research, and Helping Up Mission was the place to go.
30 plus years. That's a long time. A lot of the stuff we talk about is that the brain gets transformed by all that drug use over repeated use, and you actually lose who you are. I remember us sharing in class, what was the hardest part for you in the beginning? You didn't want to stay. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the hardest part was just being around a bunch of men.
Yeah, I guess so.
I laid down in OGS, and I was laying in there thinking about ways to get out of the hunt. And I found the choir, and the choir changed my mind,
And from there you started singing, which you have a beautiful voice really, and you started singing and enjoying stuff. And how did recovery start to take hold? What did you start doing?
If any of the guys know me, I used to always have my chin on the table and I would color. And that started the whole process.
Started the process of doing it.
And I met a guy named George, wherever he's at. And it just blossomed from there.
It blossomed from there. Hey, so before I let you go, because we'll be sharing a little bit later on, you had shared when you started getting transformed and God started doing that redemptive work and your body got clean from the drugs and the alcohol. What happened with your family? Because this is a celebration of hope, but a lot of times the families lose hope. What started happening within your family as you got healthier?
My mother's 75th birthday. We were out in the backyard, she was sitting on the deck. And you know how you could feel somebody watching you. And I looked around to see who was watching me, and it was her. And she had a tear in her eye, so I went over and I put my arms around her and I asked her what was wrong. She said, I got my son back.
And that is what we celebrate. Brother, congratulations, so proud of you, and we'll talk to you a little bit later. Thank you.
Right. I just feel so better than you.
I got you, baby.
Drug addiction affects the entire person. It affects a person's physical body, it affects their minds, their brain cells, and it affects their spirit.
I think spirituality is essential to recovery.
It's absolutely necessary.
Without God, I couldn't do this.
This is the number one part of my recovery. It starts there.
I struggled with faith when I came in. I was lost for sure.
If I had walked into the program and you told me that I had to accept these Christian principles, I would have turned around and walked out of the door.
They start opening themselves up to thinking about where they are in a spiritual kind of way.
That taught me I had to put just as much work into my recovery as I did my addiction. That taught me to be patient, and I've learned in recovery you have to be patient. In the Helping Up mission, you have to be patient.
All we want to do is to see all of us succeed. Like, that's all we really want.
I'm extremely fortunate to be able to have a program like this to fall back on.
I fully believe that I went through what I went through so that I would be at one time able to help others go through those same circumstances.
That's my story.
I worked hard for this. I worked hard for this recovery. And, if I say it's an easy road, I'd be lying. But with the pain that comes with recovery, I've grown from it. I'm still growing from it. And I love it. I love every minute of it.
I'm Gary Byers, Deputy Director of Helping Up Mission, and I have with me Todd, 2010 graduate of Helping Up Mission, and I want him to share with you just a little bit of his own story. Todd, just say a minute about how old you were when you first used a chemical. What was it, and then what you ultimately graduated to.
I started using marijuana at the age of 16, and from there I progressed to heroin and cocaine.
And how many years of active addiction in your life?
27 years.
So 27 years of active addiction. You showed up at Helping Up Mission at what age?
43.
43. Now we did the math one time, you and I did, and of those first 43 years of your life before the day you walked in, how much of that time did you spend incarcerated?
A little bit over 27 years.
Oh my goodness. Todd did some longer bits, and then every time he came out, he managed to get himself into something else. And so you wound up in jail, and somebody spoke to you and gave you an opportunity.
My public defender came to me after I got arrested for a drug offense and said to me, I see that you never received any type of treatment. I said, no ma'am. She said, well, would you be willing to get some type of treatment here at the Helping Up Mission? And at that time, I'm saying to myself, well, I'm facing 20 years with my record double enhancement, which would be 40 years. So my option was the 40 years or the year-long program. So
a genius, isn't he? And just for the record, when he walked in Helping Up Mission, they had him, his arms and feet were shackled, and he shuffled in the door. We kind of felt like we were getting Hannibal Lecter or somebody coming into Helping Up Mission. And that was what year?
June 26, 2009.
And he never left, stayed on at Helping Up Mission, became a graduate intern and finally a staff member. And and the key for Todd was his spiritual walk. So just say a little bit about the spiritual commitments that you wound up making while you were here, and what's that led to in your life up to this point?
Well, I kept praying to God even in them days when my addiction, when I was living in the old houses and on the street, to help me. And when I got to the Helping Up Mission, the warm feeling and the guys that actually cared, and along with the staff, that led me to reconnect with God. God would never left. It was just that I left. And from there, I got into church, and I'm an active member in church. I'm an usher on first and fourth Sundays. I attend Bible study every Tuesday, men's prayer breakfast every third Saturday of the month, where I get fellowship with the guys and plus eat good. And services every Sunday, and I'm also a part of the outreach program at the church.
So he's really committed. And it's wonderful when Jesus does something for you, you pass it on and you watch it help somebody else, and what that means. So the reason that I wanted Todd up here, while we're celebrating the class of 2018 and he was in the class of 2010, I wanted you to know that long-term recovery from opioid addiction is a reality. And Todd and many people in this room are examples to let you know that there's hope for anybody struggling with whatever they're dealing with. So Todd, last word. We got family and friends, Helping Up Mission family and friends here. What would you like to say to them in a word of thanks, but also inspire some hope for them, for those who are struggling with family members, maybe themselves, with their own addiction?
First, I'd like to thank Governor Hogan for coming out to support us, and the rest of our distinguished guests here. Also from personal experience, in addiction, 6 months, 30 days, 90 days, it just doesn't work for guys like myself and someone suffering from chemical addiction. A year-long program, and roughly after about 4 or 5 months, we start to get the cobwebs out of our hair. So it's so important that it's a year-long program. And someone like myself who has a lot of years of active addiction, and like I previously said, sleeping on the streets and sleeping in old houses and eating off the streets and back and forth to jail. The Helping Up Mission is a gift from God. It's truly a gift from God, and you can feel the presence of Jesus within the building. Everybody is always willing to help. Whenever you're going through something, there's always someone there to talk to. I actually counsel Pastor Gary at least 2 or 3 times a week in his office. The mission and the 1-year spiritual recovery program is a blessing.
In recovery, go ahead, please. Oh, he said to be sure to let you know he got married too. God gave him a wonderful wife. So you heard it from Todd, and we've watched it in his life. As we say in recovery, it works when you work it. And we're working at it every day. We hope you are too. Thank you so much. God bless you. Tell us what your age of first use, drugs or alcohol, and tell us the graduation, how you got eventually to get to heroin.
My first use, I guess, was marijuana when I was probably about 12.
About 15, and it was smoking weed.
My first drug use was marijuana. I was about 14, I was a freshman in high school.
8 or 9, and it was marijuana.
I started using heroin when I was 22, working in the restaurant business.
First introduced to heroin at 19.
And by the time I got to 20, it went to heroin.
How many years of heroin addiction?
40.
Heroin became an everyday thing after my wife was murdered, because that was the only thing that numbed the pain.
We have found something else that really helps though, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Yeah. How much clean time from drugs and alcohol today?
I'm coming up on 19 months.
And you're a graduate in this year's graduation class.
I am indeed.
3 years and some change.
4 years and 2 months.
4 years on June 30th.
Congratulations, you guys.
Have you guys lost anyone to heroin addiction, fentanyl, carfentanil?
I say I've known probably about the same as AJ and Josh, between 20 and 25. Men that I've met here.
How does that reality affect you guys today? You're in your recovery. Is it a deterrent?
When I was using, I didn't think twice about it. Now that I'm clean, is it a deterrent? Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's something that I keep up front every day.
The reality is, I know if I use, I will die. And where my life is now, it's better than it has ever been.
What's been the best part of living at Helping Up Mission, working, serving at Helping Up Mission?
Seeing guys come in at 19, 20 years old trying to catch their addiction at an early age, I really want to do all I can to help them.
Living at the Helping Out Mission, the camaraderie, like the brotherhood, so to speak, that we develop here is not anything that I've ever experienced before.
The camaraderie thing and the family thing, Josh, I feel that. Because it be some, I really dislike saying this. I get up some mornings and I be in a really, really dark place. And they'll always say something to lift me up. So I try to do the same thing. Because they say in order to keep it, you have to freely give it away.
When I go home on the weekends, I can't wait to get back in here. This is my home. Helping Up Mission is my home now. When I decide to leave, I want to leave the right way where I can always come back. Now, I'm not saying as a client. But I want to come back and see my family.
I know that's right.
I love this place. You can't get me out of here.
In just a few minutes, you'll get to meet all of the class of 2018, but here's 3 great members of the graduation class of this last year. And we have them with us together, particularly because they found in each other a source of encouragement and empowerment. Their lives are similar, but their lives are different. Everyone went down a different path, but they've all found something together from each other and for each other. And it's really made a difference in their lives. And we'd like for you to say that, talked about that a little bit. But just real quickly, George, your age of first use of chemicals was what?
11.
And what'd you use?
Marijuana.
And you ultimately graduated to?
Everything.
Dean?
15.
And what was it?
Marijuana.
Drug, age of first use, and what was it?
I was around 13, 14 years old. It was marijuana.
You understand that's where it starts, and it really does start that early. And so, you guys wound up at Helping Up Mission, different times in different situations, but you found some real answers to help. Say a word about that, George.
Well, my first answer was Dean. My first couple weeks, I was in there, didn't know anybody, walking around lost, and I seen Dean sitting in the corner coloring. And I went and sat there, he introduced himself, I introduced myself, and first thing he started talking about, I was getting all black out, going home, getting me a suit. And when he got all back out, he went home, he came right back, and he gave me the first suit I ever owned in my life. And from him doing that, he's like a brother I wish I had. You know what I mean? I don't know. The Helping Up Mission is the best thing that ever happened to me in my life.
Hey, go ahead, Sherman, pick up on that. These guys have heard me share this. I had a wonderful mentor many, many years ago, a guy named Henry Now, who said the wounds of our individual lives, which seem intolerable when they're lived alone, those very wounds become sources of healing when they're lived as part of a fellowship of mutual care. And we've seen you guys do that. Talk a little bit about that fellowship of care. Sherman, first tell everybody a little bit about your story, but then about that.
Well, real quick again, my name is Sherman, and I came to the Helping Up Mission because I had detoured. There was a time when I was working at the Johns Hopkins University, and of course I began to use drugs again, and I saw my life going down a dark, dark place. And before that could happen, there was a friend at the Helping Up Mission, and he was telling me about it, and I said, well, I'm gonna go try it. And to be totally honest with y'all, I expected to show up and see a bunch of guys standing in line with tin cans and, honestly, this is what I expected. But when I got there, I was surprised. One of the first things that I encountered was the guys that was there before me and how they was talking about as a result of them being there, their lives have gotten better. You know, faith is developed by hearing. So I continue to put myself in a position around people who will continuously tell me that their lives was getting better. Guys was coming in behind me. I could look at the guys that had came in before me and see where I could be. I could look at the guys that came in behind me and remember where I came from.
Yeah, you guys answer that. You guys kind of did a little bit, but anything else you got? I'm kind of ticked off at you anyway still, so that, no, go ahead.
I love the Helping Up mission. And I lost my brother about 5 years ago to colon cancer. And it was a big hole in my heart. And I found the piece to that hole, and it was yours. You know, so Helping Up mission has helped me out in a lot of ways. By giving me another brother.
Hey, and we're going to wrap this up. Darren and I were talking. This is the greatest job we've ever had, but the worst part of our job is to have to officiate funerals and memorial services for men we've lost, that have mothers and grandmothers and grandfathers and fathers get up when the slideshow's going and says, I hate what drugs and alcohol turned my son into. But we are so glad that to find them again when they become who they truly are. Wrap us up and say what you found and who you truly are now. And why don't you, Sherman, you go first, and then Dean, and then George wraps us up.
So, you know, one of the things that I often take a look at is the results of what has happened since I've been at the Helping Up mission. I have to look at where my life is now. And as a result of being there, it has allowed me to take my rightful position back in my family. My neighborhood is better. It allows me to be effective and to be a productive member of society. I'm talking about there's young children who suffered the same things that we've suffered, and I've been allowed to be a part of their lives and try to help them maneuver through the things that we've had to maneuver through. There's something about a man being back in his rightful position in his neighborhood, in his family, that there's something about that. So I'm not going to keep going because I'm not going to keep going.
I don't know.
Tell everybody what's going on now.
19 months ago, I'd have never thought I'd be where I'm at today. And I truly have to thank God for that. Because without God, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Without the Helping Up mission, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Without Dean, Darren, Pat, and a few other people, but you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. But most of all, Pastor Gary, Mike Rallo, Peter Griffin, Chase Street has changed my life tremendously. For y'all that don't know, Chase Street is a place where we have homeless women for a couple hours. And you know, me growing up, my mother abandoned me, neglected me. You know, I'm not gonna get into all that, but it taught me to respect women to the utmost. To see what these women go through over there every day. Today, going there, helping these women out, putting a smile on their face, taking their stress off them for a couple hours. That's my passion. That's what I look forward to do every day. I took so much of my addiction. That's where I go to give back. And when those ladies leave, each one of them walk out that door and they say thank you. And it just makes my day and makes me go there the next day and work at it even harder. I'm dealing with prostate cancer and I don't even think about that. You know, my thing is to go to Chase Street and lift these ladies' spirits. And I have to thank you guys for that. But most of all, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take up too much time. The medical department in the Helping Up mission is A1. They moved mountains for me the other day, and I truly thank y'all for that.
George, Dean, and Sherman, members of the class of 2018. Thank you, guys. We switched mics. And now I want to introduce to you, finishing his 24th year at Helping Up Mission, Executive Director Bob Kamen.
Thank you, Gary, and I think you're about ready to finish up your 20th. I say that because long-term relationships in this work really make a huge difference, and many of our staff have been with us for many years, and we're learning as we go. We have an incredible program, as you can see. There's still a whole lot more we want to do. We're not perfect, but wow, we sure do appreciate what's happening and the results. So I'm probably going to be the boring part of this. It's always hard to follow all these stories. What you're experiencing here is the soul of Helping Up Mission. What you're going to get from me here now is some nuts and bolts about what has to happen in order to do this, have these soulful results. So first of all, I want to thank you all for coming back. Our banquet hall is filled with 1,500 people, and we're celebrating this year 120 graduates. Approximately 70 will be walking across the stage. Many of them are out working and with their families and are not able to be here today, but you'll see about 70, and I guess thankfully 120 wouldn't fit up here anyway. But you're going to see what's really been happening in terms of results. Obviously, we have to raise a lot of money in order to make this program work. Our budget's about $9 million, and we have two special events that help fund the annual campaign, and this is one of them. Our goal this year was $525,000. Right now, I want you to know that we are starting this banquet with $355,000 in hand and have $170,000 to go in gifts and pledges. So today, when you hear later from Chris Sherrar, he'll tell you about that envelope in the center of the table. We're hoping that we can make up this difference of $170,000 and achieve that $525,000 goal, which will take care of that line item in the budget that has to be reached. So I want to thank all the banquet sponsors. They're listed in the banquet brochure. You folks just rally every day to this cause, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. Also want to acknowledge the presence of some elected officials. I'll introduce the governor later, so I won't mention him right now. But we really need support from all sectors of the community, and the political folks who support us are very valuable. Somewhere in the audience will be our City Councilman Robert Stokes, also City Council President Jack Young, and I'll tell you another dear friend, Senator Nathaniel McFadden. I say dear because when he was a kid, he came to Helping Up Mission and got enrolled in the camping program. And I was down for a hearing down in Annapolis the other day, and gave a little pitch, 5 minutes, and we were asking support for a particular program. And the senator stood to his feet and he said, I want you to know that Helping Up Mission, when I was a kid, was my first and only church at that time. And so he had praises. So he's a dear friend, and I think he's here someplace. Haven't met him yet. And then Joan Pratt, also an incredible supporter. She has a citation, which we don't have time to read now, but we appreciate the support that she gives to Helping Up Mission every year. Now, just a couple of thoughts I would like to share with you. HUM is building upon a really great heritage, and I'm reminded of that every day, that back in 1885, there's this guy, Pastor Braden Ball was his name, who left his comfortable Methodist parish and just went down into the streets to help people up. Thus our name. And we're still doing that today. And we are stronger than ever as a mission, bringing hope to the poor, the homeless, and the addicted. And we do that through a variety of programs that address the physical, psychological, social, spiritual needs of the men in our mission. We have a very clear sense of purpose. And to quote an Old Testament phrase from the book of Esther, we feel we may just have been prepared for a time like this. What time am I talking about? Well, you've heard it, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but our American culture is experiencing a life-threatening disease, and it's an epidemic that's going through our communities. It shows no signs of subsiding anytime soon. Our city has been particularly hit hard. 20 new men, we have 50 beds, 500 beds. 20 new men show up every week to get into programs that are already full. So drug addiction, we know, is recognized at all levels of government as a real social crisis that must be addressed. Millions and millions of dollars are spent every year trying to prevent deaths, reducing harm, and transforming lives through recovery. And we applaud the work that is happening in every area. But sometimes the treatment world is fragmented, a piece here and a piece here. And I think you can see from what you have just heard that the programs of Helping Up Mission not only save lives and reduce harm, but the ultimate goal is life transformation. And you saw Todd Sparks up here, who goes back, and I'm going to tell you that Todd Sparks is one of the best managers that anybody could have in their organization. He manages a whole crew of people that keep the 110,000 square feet of space almost spotless. And you'll see the floor shine when you come in, and that's Todd Sparks. And we're elevating him because of his ability. I asked him where he learned that management skill. I'm not going to tell you what he said, but he learned it, and so we're beneficiaries of that change. But you see, life transformation, that is what we're after. More than saving lives and harm reduction. We do all that, but we want more, life transformation. And so people of all segments of society are being caught in this trap of drug addiction. And if you are not directly feeling the pain from personal experience or watching a family member suffer from addiction, you likely know someone who is. And it's a horrible pain. It's the pain that we don't grow numb to at Helping Up Mission, but we kind of learn to put up some walls in order for us to deal with the ups and downs, the realities of sickness and death and the destruction that goes along side by side with the really wonderful things. But it's the pain of watching a human being you love being reduced to a poverty that affects the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. And we watch them lose control, lose self-control, lose sound reasoning, and lose a lack of ability to focus upon anything except satisfying cravings. And the dark side of humanity acts out in all kinds of inhumane and criminal ways as a result. And if help does not come on time, the disease leads to homelessness, jails, and an early grave. The epidemic is sapping resources from our families and our communities. Some families have actually exhausted their retirement funds and even gone bankrupt trying to save their children and give them one last chance, compounding the anguish caused by the loved one's illness. And after burning through savings and amassing debt to pay for rehab, sometimes the rehab that they're in doesn't work. So, we are building and growing a helping model that we want and believe is efficient, effective, and holistic, that will help large numbers of addicted people and their families every single year when they need it. And for the past 24 years, our home board and staff has been building a Christ-centered, faith-based therapeutic community where those suffering with chemical addiction who are ready for help can come, and at no cost to themselves or their families, they can get all the help they need. And we're working to bring together the best of the faith and the best of science and medicine. That's important. And do this in an integrated, effective, holistic way with the hope of giving the addict the best opportunity to get well. And our experience tells us that the kind of help that works is long-term, at least for the men who've been addicted for the many years that you've just heard about. And it needs to happen in a residential setting, a faith-based therapeutic community. Faith is necessary for hope. And it needs to be a model that collaborates with community partners and brings, for instance, we have community partners like Johns Hopkins Hospital, Towson University, University of Maryland Dental School, and I could go on. And it brings all these resources together under one roof and provides the opportunity for a program. The model also provides opportunity for the alumni to keep coming back whenever they need to, and encourages them to become recovery leaders in the community, and that's our hope, to make a dent in this problem. So today, Help is helping over 500 men each year. It costs approximately $1,500 a person per month, along with 60 men at Chase Street. And your support today to really get to this goal will help to continue and deepen our programs that support the spiritual life of our program members, help us keep in touch with our alumni, provide more career and education and career development, more graduate housing, and expanding these programs to include women and their children. Now I just want to take a minute. This banquet is about our annual campaign. But we're so steamed and pumped about this program for women that we want to give you an update on the capital campaign that's in it's no longer silent, is it, after we've talked? But it's in the beginning phase, and it's just kind of getting bigger and bigger, but Gail and Frank Kelly III are co-chairing the campaign. They're right here. We'd like you to stand, please. We are grateful for their leadership, and they're making a huge difference. And so as I said, we're in the early phase. We're over 50% towards our $35.5 million goal, and we're in the early stages of this. So I want to just take a minute here now, and there's a video that we have that kind of presents the case for the women's program, so let's show that right now.
The lowest point is having no food, sleeping in abandoned buildings with rats and feces, and being alone and hopeless. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. Horrible feeling.
The problems that face Baltimore City, homelessness, crime, unemployment, poverty, poor health, can be tied to addiction. The rate of heroin addiction among women has doubled, so there's a tremendous need.
The first time I became aware of a need for women was one night serving dinner to the men. As I was preparing a plate of food, I was looking down the line of the men, and I noticed an odd-looking man. And as the man approached me and I gave him a plate of food, I realized it was not a man, it was a woman. When she left, I thought, where did she go?
As women, we come in with a lot more shame and guilt. We do things that men don't have to do.
You have women who, to get a next fix, they're doing prostitution, which is dangerous in itself. They're already feeling low, but it makes them feel even lower.
Raising a child by yourself with the addiction and again, like not being able to get the help and trying to hold on and keep it all together really makes you feel hopeless.
You really lose a lot. You lose your respect for yourself, and other people lose respect for you. I just need the help.
What Helping Out Mission attempts to do is treat not just the addiction, but also the psychological or mental health issues that contribute to the problem.
Well, it's really about the gospel message, bringing hope and transformation to folks.
We've purchased property at 1216 East Baltimore Street, where we will build the Helping Out Mission Women's and Children's Center. The center will accommodate up to 300 women and their children with a safe, loving place where their complex needs can be met. Women are different than men, and we have searched best practices of other programs across the country. I mean, imagine a place where a woman can have her doctor, her therapist, and perhaps her dentist, and all the caregivers who would be surrounding and helping support this woman together, as well as receiving just basic needs: food, shelter, clothing, and faith. I think that's where women will receive hope and healing.
Just because we're addicts or we're homeless, we're not throwaways.
We're strong, but we also sometimes just need a helping hand. And the same way you would help a man, it's time to step up and give women the same help.
Okay, there you have the case for it. You're going to hear more about the campaign as it evolves and includes more people. Now, it's my great privilege to introduce Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, a really good friend of Helping Up Mission. Since taking office in 2015, Governor Hogan has focused on creating new jobs and making Maryland a better place to live, work, and raise a family. His first year in office was the most successful in total job creation and private sector job growth in the last 15 years. Governor Hogan has also made record investments in education and transportation and enacted major environmental initiatives to create clean energy jobs and restore the Chesapeake Bay. He serves as the chairman of the Chesapeake Executive Council and sits on the executive committee of the National Governors Association. The governor and his cabinet and staff have been incredibly supportive of Helping Up Mission in every conceivable way. Please join me in welcoming Governor Larry Hogan.
Thank you all so much. Good afternoon. First of all, before I get started on a couple of brief remarks, can we hear it one more time for Dean, George, and Sherman? Aren't they incredible? I mean, they're just three of the men that we're going to get a chance to meet today, but the other men that were on the videos, every one of those stories was extremely touching. I want to just thank all of you for being here today and for your incredibly generous support to Helping Up Mission. I want to especially thank Bob Gaiman, Jim Longenecker, and everyone, all the staff involved in Helping Up Mission, for inviting me to join today to congratulate and celebrate the success of these 120 men who have graduated from HUM's year-long spiritual recovery program. I first became aware of the Helping Up Mission 15 years ago when I wasn't ever thinking about running for public office at the time, but I just was aware of the great work that they were doing. I kept hearing from people telling about the great success of the program, and I helped serve a meal out of the old kitchen 15 years ago, and have been following the incredible growth and success. Back in December, I was thrilled to take part in the ribbon cutting for the new kitchen, where they actually, I think the first meal, at least after the ribbon cutting, they served my wife's Korean recipe, and I think the guys thought it was pretty good. But the new kitchen made it possible for HUM to serve more than 1,500 meals every single day. And I'm now looking forward to even more growth through this very exciting planned Women's and Children's Center, which is in the pre-construction phase. And I just want to also give a shout out to the Kellys for their incredible leadership in this campaign. Thank you, and thank all of you who have contributed and committed. I understand we're trying to shoot for that $500,000 goal here today. I'll say that the state is also proud that we're going to provide another $500,000 in our latest budget to help the Mission team. And I sincerely want to thank the entire Helping Up Mission team, all of the staff and the volunteers and the men who've been through the program that continue to give back and for all of you for being so supportive of it. Every single day, they really are providing the tools and the guidance that people need to transform their lives and to turn around their futures. And I just want to thank every one of you in this room. The theme of this banquet today is inspiring hope. And the spiritual recovery program graduates here today that we're going to get a chance to meet, they're proof that even in the midst of our darkest days, there's always hope. And these men are proof that through faith, hard work, and a helping hand, people can turn their lives around. We just can't afford to leave anyone behind. And that is especially true now as we face this escalating addiction problem, heroin and opioid, this crisis that is tearing apart families and communities and taking far too many lives, not only in Baltimore City, but all across the state and from one corner of our nation to the other. I was the first governor in America to declare a real state of emergency on this crisis, and we've put $600 million into the heroin and opioid epidemic and substance abuse disorders. And we are going to do I can promise you we're going to do everything that is in our power to try to put those in need on a path toward healing and recovery. But the state can't possibly do that, not even with the help of the federal government, the local government. It's going to take partnership with Helping Up Mission and groups like them, other groups that are on the front lines of this fight. The graduates that we're honoring and celebrating today received help when they needed it the most, when they faced despair and struggled to break the grip of addiction and homelessness. Helping Up Mission stepped in to meet their physical and psychological, social, and spiritual needs. And the Helping Up family never gave up on these men. Even more importantly, they taught these graduates to never give up on themselves. As a result, after completing the spiritual recovery program, many of the former graduates, as we heard earlier, have become leaders in support groups, both at the mission and across the city, and they're working to inspire hope in others. And I just want to congratulate each and every one of the graduates today on this incredible achievement. I'm going to have the honor of presenting them with some certificates and shaking every one of their hands and personally congratulating them. But I just want to say to them, to the graduates, good luck as you begin this next bright chapter in your lives. God bless you, and may God bless the incredible team at the Helping Up Mission for all of the work that you do each and every day to bring real and lasting change to so many lives. Thank you.
I'm looking for Chris Sherrar. Oh, there you are. Go ahead. So this is Chris Sherrar, Director of Philanthropy, and he's going to tell you a little bit about a graduate of the program, a long time ago. You can tell him about that, but you'll explain how we're going to conduct our gifts and pledges.
Yes,
All right.
yes. Thank you, Bob. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chris Sherrar, Director of Philanthropy at HUM, and a 2007 graduate of the Spiritual Recovery Program. I thank God every day for counting me worthy to save me from that dark abyss. The very first Bible verse I heard at HUM gave me hope in my darkest hour. And it says in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope." Many here have inspired hope at HUM for decades through your compassion, your prayers, and your faithful, generous giving. You have saved and transformed lives and restored families including the men we celebrate today, and thousands of others in years past. And our communities throughout greater Baltimore, across the great state of Maryland and beyond, are better for it. Your personal hope that I believe you have, that you can impact others' lives and make a difference in this world. Well, family, be filled with joy that this hope that you have is fully realized at Helping Up Mission. We thank God for you. Yet more needs to be done in the lives of the men following these graduates, particularly with the scourge of the opioid epidemic and the other life-threatening addictions. And as the house lights come up now, will the undergraduates in the room please stand and be recognized for just a minute? House lights up, please. Undergrads, don't be shy, guys. We know who you are. You were ushers. You are greeters. You are ticket takers, the choir. These men serving you in the audience. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Have a seat. We want to recognize you to put a face on this war that's being raged that we are a part of, that we join. They're looking for hope in their journeys, ladies and gentlemen, and God will see His purpose fulfilled in the lives of those men, that they will be redeemed and reconciled and restored, renewed and rebuilt. And when they return to their homes, they'll do so as men of character and impact. God can and will do that. But we know He works in and through others like you, like me, to further His purposes. You see, God doesn't need us, but He chooses to include us. And what an honor and privilege that is. So now, as Bob said, quoting Esther, is the time and place for each of us to inspire hope for the men and the women cared for and served in our current programs. This is the time for us to act. You have at your tables this commitment card before you to make a generous gift or pledge today. And as today's program shows, you will save and transform lives of men at home with your commitment. Please complete your gifts and pledges during the following special song and placing your gift and card in the white envelope and then in the large manila envelope. And at the end of the song, Hum staff members will visit each table to collect the large envelopes. We're deeply grateful for the hope you inspire with your gifts. And if you wish to give by credit card, you can do so after the graduates are recognized in the guest services area outside the ballroom to my left. You can do so. We have that available for you. But more as important, in addition to your gifts and pledges, you can also inspire hope by joining Team Hum, that is our running and walking team, this year, that raises awareness and funds. Bob mentioned the 2 large events. That's the second largest. And we're in the Baltimore Running Festival again for the 13th time. And we already have 60 committed runners and walkers. It's astounding, but we're going to get to 200, and you can be part of that 200. You can let us know your interest in volunteering or joining our prayer team. We have a weekly praise and prayer team. And we also, it's on the card, we welcome a conversation about impacting lives in the generations to come by including Helping Up Mission in your will. Family and guests, today is our opportunity to continue to inspire hope in present and future generations. And as from the Apostle Paul wrote to the Romans, I pray that God, the source of hope, will fill you completely with joy and peace because you trust in Him. Then you will overflow with confident hope through the power of the Holy Spirit. Thank you and God bless as God leads you to give.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to, before we sing this song entitled Seasons, I wanted to introduce my brother-in-law, Minister Randall Walters, who is the owner of the Healing Through the Arts program that they started that It's for children and men and people that are just changing, and they use different healing tools through arts and music and different ministries and mentorships to help edify and build up young people and men and women in the community. He's going to sing with us today, and my nephew Wade is on the drums, and this song really means a lot. It really talks a lot about how our lives, we plant seeds, and those seeds will grow, and they will come to fruition. So I hope this song blesses you as it's blessed us. I feel seasons everywhere, and I feel blessings in the air. Those seeds that you've sown, it's time to come into your own seasons. Walk into your seasons. I believe that we're in a time when God's gonna bless the saints, those who have stayed, those who have prayed. He's gonna fulfill the promise he made. And I hear the Spirit say that it's your time, the wait is over. Walk into your season. And I feel seasons everywhere.
Oh, I feel,
blessings in the air.
oh, the seeds that you sown, they're gonna come into your home. Oh, season,
Walk into your season. I feel seasons everywhere.
oh,
And I feel blessings.
blessings in the air.
Oh, those seeds that you've sown, it's
Gonna come into your own. Oh, seasons,
walk into your season.
oh, that God's gonna bless the saints, those who have stayed, those who have prayed, are gonna fulfill the promise he made. But I hear the Spirit say that it's your time, the wait is over. Walk into your season.
It's your time.
Oh, the wait is over. So walk into your season.
Walk on.
Walk into your season.
Walk on now.
Walk into your season.
Walk on.
Walk into your season.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tom Bond. I'm the Director of Programs at Helping Out Mission. And this is my 17th banquet, and yet somehow I'm still nervous. So it's going to be my job. We got the best job of all, is to introduce the graduates of 2018. So I know we're running a little behind, so I'm going to ditch my speech, aren't you glad, and get straight to the good stuff. So without further ado, this year's class. Robert Alt. Mark Anderson. John Arnold. Mark Arnone, Terry Bennett, Christopher Bigham, Herbert Blackwell, Kenneth Boykins, Michael Brown, James Carpenter, Dean Carter, James Curry, Herman Davis, Philip Davis, David Dean, Charlie Despo, Terrace Fields, Tyler Frammarini, Stephen Gallup, Brandon Hammond, Joe Hancock, Mark Holquist, Terrence Holter, Sherman Jackson, Josh Jacobson, Michael James, Eric Johnston, Arthur Jones, Jamal Jones, and Lamont Jones, the Jones twins. Christopher Lawson, Gary Leverton, Junius Lewis, George Liggins, Earl Lucas, David Lumpkin, John Mattery, Brandon McCall, Robert Mitchell, Dante Nick, Kenneth Nordoff, Joe Orbino, Aaron Pack, Dave Pope, Justin Powell, Jeffrey Randolph, Benjamin Riggins, Jesse Russo with the hat, Mario Salter, Julio Santana, Kevin Shipley, Anthony Sherrill, Richard Sutton, Leon Tolan, Joseph Weed, Mark Williams, Richard Williamson, Jonathan Wilson, Craig Wise, and Randy Zacco. This is the 2018 graduating class of Helping Up Mission. All right, that's your cue to get off the stage. Go. Go. Don't hurt each other. Thanks again.
All right. So this is one of our closing songs, and we will be performing this song and worship and praise to God. And the Sinfonia are going to play the music for us, and we got an opportunity to sing with them at the Art of Hope program we had at the Hum, and we really enjoyed it. So we just want to give them another hand from us men at the choir at the Hum. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Having these hands and multiply, God, all that I am, and find my heart on the altar again. Set me on fire, set me on fire. Oh, take all I having these hands and multiply, God, all that I am, and find my heart on the altar again. Set me on fire, set me on fire. Here I am, God, on fire, oh yeah. Pouring out my life, gracefully broken. My heart stands in awe of your name. Your mighty love stands strong to the end. You will fulfill your purpose in me. You won't forsake me. You will be with me. Here I am, God, on fire, open. Pouring out my life, gracefully broken. Oh, here, all to Jesus now. All to Jesus now. Holding nothing back. We're holding nothing back, and I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. Here I am, God, on fire. Pouring out my life, gracefully broken. Here I am, God, with on fire open. Pouring out my life, gracefully broken. Every Bible, every credit, like a wildfire in my heart. Sunday morning, hallelujah, and it lasted all week long. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? It's the rhythm of the gospel song. Won't you do that? You nothing, no way, nothing gonna steal my joy. I got an old church choir singing in my soul. I got a sweet salvation and it's beautiful. I got a heart overflowing 'cause I'm free. Cause there ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. No, there ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. When the mountains that wander turn to mountains and I say high. Oh, you're with me, never leave me. There ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. I got an old church choir singing in my soul. I got a sweet salvation and it's beautiful. I got a heart overflowing 'cause I've been restored. There ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. No, there ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. Oh, 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 oh. Clap your hands and stomp your feet till you find that gospel beat. 'Cause it's all you'll ever need, all you'll ever need. Clap your hands and stomp your feet till you find that gospel beat. 'Cause it's all you'll ever need, all you'll ever need. I got an old church choir singing in my soul. I got a sweet salvation and it's beautiful. I got a heart overflowing 'cause I've been restored. There ain't nothing gonna steal my joy. No, there ain't nothing gonna steal my joy.
Oh, hey, get those words up there. Remember you got the Serenity Prayer up there anywhere? If not, you guys better know by heart, right? Here we go. Hey, we close our chapel out each Friday with this. We're going to say it together as a family. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you being here. Hey, thank these guys and everybody for recommending saying. Thank you, man. We are mindful of the recovery represented in this room, and we're mindful of the people who've lost family and friends. We're mindful of families who have no idea where their children are. And as we pray this together as a community, we say together, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life. And say it out! And supremely happy with you forever and ever. Amen! Have a good day! Oh, hey, hobo, silent auction. I don't know anything about it, but who's got it? Oh, hey, pay on your way out, man. Hey, pay whatever you want for the silent auction. We don't care. Pay whatever you want. It's closed, pay on your way out, whatever that means. Hey, thanks, hey, have a great day, bye.